Hey everyone, and welcome to a very exclusive video about a brand new life simulation game. This game is called inZOI, and it's a completely new game made by Crafted, the same company that made PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. And now they're up here with a live simulation. You may have seen this already in the past, like they have shown some demos and stuff like that last year, and some other creators last year have focused on that, but this game has been developed ever since, and I am now very lucky to be amongst 40 other people or 40 other creators that had access to the game and were able to play and do some stuff. And today finally is the big content revealed. So if you're interested, we are going to take a look at characters of MOANA. As you can see, MOANA, MAUI and TeFiti are the ones we're doing today as a little teaser over here. The reason why I'm doing this is basically to get a setting in which I'm testing all the stuff. Now, I decided to go for these three characters, but first of all, because I'm kind of a big fan of the movie. I think it's one of the better, I want to say modern, Disney films, but honestly, Moana 1 is already relatively old and can already be called, it's not a classic yet, but the second part is coming this year, so I thought it's gonna be a fitting little situation to do so. However, and that is maybe already the first little thing I want to talk about, the results are okay, they're not great, and that is down to me, not down to the editor. I tried to do my best, but, converting these comic-y characters into a very, very realistic, focused game is not really that easy. But while editing, you can definitely tell a lot about this editor, and it is super powerful. The good news is you guys can test this as well. You don't need exclusive access as I have, but from the 21st to the 25th or 7th, not exactly sure, you'll see the dates in the description down below. You'll be able to play it for free on Steam, the character editor that is, and you can test this yourself, which honestly is a great thing. You can lose yourself hours and hours in the character editor alone. You can test so many things, and within the group of people we've been access to the game, a lot of people have created some very interesting characters and some very fun characters. So there is a canvas, as they call it, and this is a platform, basically it's like a Steam workshop in-game where you can share a lot of your creations and your characters with the different trades and with the custom clothing and stuff that they have. Now, speaking of custom, you can basically do everything custom in this game. You can create custom fashion, you can create custom furniture, you can create custom everything. You can even use AI to create your own texture. You'll see that in a second. I'm going to use that for Moana's top, actually, testing a little bit around, and I was trying to just use that function. So what they did basically is they used the power of AI. They created their very own image generation tool and feed that with their own images and stuff like that to have the same appeal as like Zoe, and then the AI creates the pattern that you decide to have. You just type that in as an easy prompt, just as you do this with all the different AI tools, and then boom, in a second you basically have the pattern that you want. And I was trying this out to give Moana something that looks a little bit more like she wants to have in real life, or like actually what she would wear in real life, I should say. I tried to mimic her actual outfit, but it didn't work out in the end, so I made a real life outfit that I thought could be realistic for Moana to wear, and you may actually be able to tell that. Again, the result is not 100% accurate. At some point I was like, okay, I need to give everything else a try now and not spend another 2 hours in the character editor. There are a couple of little things I would love to be improved, starting from the control over the face. Like, it's funny because the details that you have control of is insane, but actually what I think should be better is like the global controls of the head, for example, to make the head more round or more oval or more, I don't know, chubby, is that the right word? Like, you have so much individual control of the face with the advanced mode, and also in the basic mode you can obviously change the different proportions. You can go for symmetry or asymmetry, but then again, just to say I want to have a round head or like a flat head or so is not really that easy to achieve, and this is maybe something I would love to see in the final version being changed a little, because that would have been easier for me to give Moana a little bit of more of her actual look, but yeah, I'm very pleased with the final result. Also quickly took a look at the custom fashion editor over here. A little fun fact, you can actually become fashion designer in the final game. I believe it's not possible in the demo we have been testing, but in the exclusive onboarding we got, by the way, this was one of the coolest onboardings I've ever had. Like the lead dev of the game had like an hour session with all of us, and he live showed us the game and answered questions and was very proud of what they were doing. They were even showing us the funniest bugs in advance, so just to mention that obviously this is a very early version of the game, but they wanted us to find the bugs, they wanted us to point out what's not good, because they're really passionate about the game. And maybe this is the right moment to talk about that. They actually had the ability to talk to the Sims creators years ago, and the lead designer of this game, or the lead developer of this game, he basically spent time with the dev team of The Sims, and so he took a lot of inspiration from The Sims and obviously put that into the game. And I would say this game is more comparable to The Sims 3 than to The Sims 4. The Sims 4 is very story driven, and you can lean yourself into making all these stories and blah blah blah, while this game is more focused on the real life simulation, like it is in Sims 3. More of that, like really you have to find a job, do the job properly, and like, you know, live in the city. And speaking of the city, but we will talk about more about this in my actual gameplay, just as a little heads up, if you're interested also in the building mode, there is at the same time I have released a building speed build, where we are going to talk in depth about the building in this game, because it is fantastic. Already now, even though it is just a tiny fraction of what will be possible, we are going to look into what is already possible, because the whole city you will see in this game is basically handmade, and you can build exactly this. You can build skyscrapers, you can build multi-flat options, like you can have a high-rise building with a couple of flats and have families live in all these flats you create. It is ridiculous, you know, and there is basically no limitation to whatever you want to do. And you can then, as I was talking about, you can create your own fashion and sell your fashion basically on the streets. You can have like a little street shop where you sell your fashion, and the more people notice that, they will also spread the word with other people, and more people come to your little you know, roadside shop and get your fashion. It's so cool, you know. There's so much. There is even like a little bit of a glimpse I wanted to give you, because I found this so funny. There is even diseases in the game. So if you have a kid and you need to bring the kid to daycare, it could be clever to not bring it to daycare sometimes, because it will always come back sick. Like if you're a parent, you know this is exactly what's happening in the winter, and sometimes you're like, oh my god, I'm just gonna leave my kid at home because otherwise we'll all be sick for the next 7 months ongoing. I don't know. So yeah, that this is in game is kind of ridiculous, to be honest. And I love this a little bit, but there are tons of these things we are going to talk about in another video, because I want to talk more about the editor. You see the editor in the background, you can see how much control you have, and the reason why I decided to go for these 3 characters is actually to tell you a bit of the editor. So Moana was first, and she was a very straightforward normal character you would do. Maui, on the other hand side, is already a bit of an interesting one, because he clearly has a very unrealistic shape of his body and so on. And here's a little bit of a caveat here, because it's not really that possible in the game, so you can't really go awfully extreme with all the things, you know. I couldn't make the shoulders like 2 meters wide, for example, and super fat on the upper body, so that's a little bit of an issue here. I would have loved to, but the game just didn't let me. I would love to override it and just go crazy on it. Maybe I haven't seen, okay, so maybe if other people understood how to do that, that's fine. I have not seen it, but it was enough to test. And honestly, Maui, I think, turned out better than Moana did actually at the end. You can see basically, by the way, you can do everything, you know, from the nail polish to the blush on the face. And I decided to give him a little bit of blush, and I like the fact that you can basically use all the items no matter which gender you have. So you can put dresses on male, and you know, also like makeup and stuff like that. I really like it, and also nail polish, as you've seen. So there's no limitation in that. You can do all the kind of different poses and take photos, and then upload the whole thing to the canvas I was just talking about. And here you can see things that people have created. If you've seen, there was like a real life Homer version from The Simpsons. And now I wanted to go a little bit even more crazy, and I went to create TeFiti. And for those of you who don't know TeFiti from the first movie, Moana, she is basically the spirit of the ocean, and she is the island of TeFiti, where they bring back the heart to TeFiti. And like without her heart, she was that kind of lava monster. But once they gave back the heart to her, which I think is one of the best scenes that Disney had in their movies since the 2000s. I don't know, really, really powerful, I think. You know, but she is green, obviously, because she is the island, and I wanted to see if you can do that, and, well, you can, you know, the game does let you do this, and I was about to create her, and I really like the fact how this turned out. I just generally like how the whole aesthetics of this game let me do this, and even though leaned to be very realistic, I was able to create a very decent looking TeFiti. Again, this tiny problem that I couldn't translate the oval or like very roundish oval head form into the game was a bit of an issue I encountered with all the 3 characters, but it was nevertheless very fun to play around with all the different elements. You can see how nicely you can shape these things. And here's a second little bit of criticism I want to talk about, because also I'm quite sure that the devs will watch all these videos, and in fact, they asked us to mention all the criticism we came across. So, well, if you ask me, here I am to answer. As much as I love it and you have so much control, the only thing I feel like there's a little bit lack of control is with the lips. I don't know what exactly is going on with the lips, but there's like, lips are so crazy, and you can do so many different like lipstick, different gloss and blah blah blah. You can even make them green, nice, but what you can't really do is get some very different lip shapes in. It will always be this very typical lips that you can see over here, but I want to have like very blown up lips, or I want to have very tiny lips, like very narrow one, you know, almost like a little strip only. And I want to not have this kind of rose in the middle of the top lip. I want to have it less, you know. Some lips are not even having this little rose on there. It's most likely like a very round element in the middle of your lip, and like these kind of things weren't really possible. And all the other stuff was really, a lot of things were super easy, but specifically the lips gave me a very hard time, to be honest. It's like, you know, generally I'm quite decent in drawing, I guess, but also lips are my final boss, the biggest enemy I have. I don't know why. It just, I don't know, I can't do them. But the same in here, and I feel like it's not only to blame me, but also partially blame the tool a little bit, because there was really a lack of possibilities to just change the overall lips form. And I would love to see that with all the different, you know, body parts that you have. Kind of, not the prefabs we have are great, but the prefabs are like complete people. But I'd love to have some more prefabs on elements, you know, like eyes and ears and, I don't know, chest and feet and blah 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 whatnot. That would be really cool, because then you have it easier to click a very good foundation and then go into the details. Anyways, this is already the end of our character episode. I really hope you liked the in-depth look at the character editor, what's possible and whatnot. And if you want to see more of this game, there will be a video now at the same time about the building tool. So let's meet over there. And if you want to see more about this game in the future coming days, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to cover a lot of it, and we're also going to live stream it during the Gamescom weekend, so the coming weekend. So thank you so much for watching. I talk to you in the next one, and have a good time. Bye.